Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, my beautiful soul angels out there. Today, we have a very special guest and so close to my heart, my soul mother. Her name is Helena Reilly. She's a renowned quantum scalar sound therapist and the co founder of Quantum Sound Therapy and a best selling author. Helena's mission and vision is to harmonize humanity by introducing tools and technology to raise the frequency and clear the destructive patterns on Earth. Helena is an expert in applying voice code sound therapy and quantum technology as a cutting edge methods for stress management, anti aging, and burnout for professionals. Helena, welcome to the Soul Healing Summit too. It's such a pleasure and honor to have you here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
And it so happened that we match in the Christmas color, so we'll bring the Christmas.
Celebrating Christmas. We're celebrating the gift.
Absolutely, absolutely. I would love for you to share about the Miracle Eye Cube. I personally was exposed to it several years ago, and it truly feels like it helped me ascend at quantum speed. And I'm not saying that lightly because I normally don't use technology for this work. I like hands-on. And your miracle is the only technology that I actually trusted and allowed in my home. It truly made a difference in my life. Would you please share how you came across and what does that do for somebody's home?
The Miracle iCube has been in development over 40 years with my late partner, Robert Loy, who brings scalar technology to Earth and to other systems, actually. And it's here to actually resonate the individual into alignment with the soul and to drop the conditioning, the patterns, the false beliefs, the belief that humanity is not enough. It's here to very gently and gradually release that from the energy field of humans. And so it's designed to work 24/7, plug and play, as a tool that repeats frequencies that will help you to evolve, which is why you had this experience of expansion into the quantum field, which is none other than your inner self. When you're connecting to the quantum reality, you're actually connecting to your inner self, your inner being, where most of you is residing. And the tool is here sort of like a robot, like an automated vacuum cleaner, like a
RoboCop.
robotic, yes, vacuum cleaner. What it's doing is clearing and cleaning all that's around you that is discordant so that you can thrive, and releasing you to find your own power. That's it.
You remember meeting you for the first time because I was exposed to Miracle IQ. My friend had it, and I remember I turned it on, but at that time I didn't know much about it. My friend was like, "Oh, this is going to protect you from 5G and all this EMFs and all these things." So I remember I turned it on and I was so glued to it. But then I would go through this roller coaster of emotions. I was like, feeling super, super happy. And then a few hours later, crying. And then super happy and crying. I'm like, what is going on with me? I've never gone through such shifts. And my friend is like, why don't you call Helena and she'll explain what this technology is? Because he couldn't explain it. And I remember I got on the phone with you and we spoke for 2 hours. And my friend, and we found out later on, but that I had the heart frequency, the heart opening frequency. And normally you were supposed to go from one frequency to another. I had that on the loop. So it was opening my heart like 24/7, and like all the stuff from the past just kept coming to the surface, dissipating, coming to the surface, dissipating. I remember speaking with you for 2 hours on the phone. And I got off the phone. It was the first time I met you. And my friend is like, so what do you think? Is this a good technology? What do you know? I'm like, I barely understood 10% of what this could do for me and for my life. I can barely understand the rest of it, but I know it's real because I felt like even having a conversation with you that we went through like all kinds of different dimensions. And that's how we knew that we're connected. So that was my personal experience with the miracle. It is truly my healer working on me while I work on others. And he allows me to continue doing on and have that strong energy and power to serve everybody that comes to me. I am beyond grateful. It truly is a miracle. I want to hear from you some of the stories on how that shifted your life and the life of those you help.
Oh, great question. The premise is that sound and energy can heal and balance any condition, any situation. When you harmonize, you actually open the field to healing you. So the technology actually, what we've seen over the years is that, and especially during this pivotal moment in human history, we are being programmed into fight, flight, freeze, into the reptilian brain. And you need, and especially with 5G, you actually need a dominant frequency that overrides 5G and the discordance, because it is entraining you into fight, flight, freeze. Now, when you go into the primitive reptilian brain, you release cortisol. Cortisol now reduces serotonin in the body. Now, this is a problem because serotonin is your happiness hormone, essentially. What the technology is doing, for example, we place the technology in the home of a woman. Her name is Christy Gowerly, and her daughter is on the spectrum, the autism spectrum. She's about 12 years old, and she got the miracle, and her daughter's behaviors that are associated with autism stopped, essentially. She said usually they have nervous twitches and so on. And whereas these twitches were occurring several times a day, and of course they can also they create a lot of stress in the family. Christy said that it's gone down to once a month. And this is the result of calming down the environment with frequency and in training the brain into calm coherence, or what we like to call alpha, theta, gamma. Other shifts that have occurred quickly are, for example, there was one man who he got in a motorcycle accident, sadly, and it was very painful, his recovery. So he started drinking 18 beers a day, and his wife got the miracle, plugged it in, and he stopped drinking. So it is addressing the stress in the system and releasing it beyond conscious awareness. So the reason I use both of those cases, situations, is that neither of those recipients knew or understood that the miracle was in the home environment. It just shifted their energy field and therefore their behavior. This is the power of coherent frequencies that are being amplified by scalar technology. It actually reduces the stress that's being caused by EMFs, by emotions, by many factors that we don't even understand. Actually, there are so many things that are impacting the energy of the environment, but this tool clears it so that humans become more relaxed and more at ease is the word, happier and at ease. And in your experience, you were going through so much during that time. That was the beginning of the pandemic. And I remember you were in Florida and you were opening to a whole nother level, which is one of the things that the technology will do, will open the heart so you can clear negative emotions and also experience more fully positive emotions of joy and happiness.
Absolutely. And it is truly a miracle. And you're saying, like, oh, it makes you feel good and happy. And I have the miracle right next to me. It's always on the table next to me. I don't travel, I don't go anywhere without my miracle because I can just plug it in, especially when you go to hotels. You walk in and there's the energy of the person from before. So the first thing I do is I plug in the miracle, and that within 10 minutes, I can feel the cocoon that it just created.
Mm.
It truly makes a difference. I don't know how I would be able to do the work that I'm doing without a miracle. It would take a lot of time for me to heal and recharge and be able to help somebody else afterwards. So it truly, truly helps if you are on a path of coaching, healing, or working with people. That is something that can work and take care of you while you work on others. And the frequency truly translates. as you're listening to us. Helena has her miracle, I have mine, and they communicate to each other and form a vortex, and the energy quantumplies. Wasn't this one of your downloads, Helena, that you had to have a certain amount to cover the entire planet so we can raise the vibration? Would you please share the download with us?
Yes, well, and actually it shifted. So originally we were told 1,200 miracles, which can shift the resonant frequency of planet Earth, but they had to be spread out throughout the planet. And then recently, I realized that we needed more penetration. So the quantum happy homes or harmony homes by 2033, the mission is to bring 1 million quantum harmony homes to planet Earth so that we raise the resonance. And I'll tell you the reason I've shifted it is that I feel that children are suffering from the confusion and the discordance and seeing their families and training into fight, flight, freeze. So we're becoming a very reactive culture instead of a nurturing culture or a contemplative culture. And that is global, it's worldwide. The problem with that is as the children are entrained more into devices, they lose connection. If their families are also losing connection. So I'm dedicating my life at this point to this movement of harmonizing homes so the children can thrive again. And, as you know, we did the summit on narcissism because sadly, when children are deprived of enough attention, the wounding results in narcissistic behavior patterns because they're not getting nurtured and supported. Now, the miracle nurtures not only the individuals, but it's creating a nurturing environment, or as you said, the vortex, so that when we step into the home, we automatically feel this energy rush. This is the power of coherent energy. It's stronger than incoherent energy. Therein lies the power that when you can overpower the discordance, so in many ways, but it's weaker, the 5G and so on and so forth, than scalar energy, which is why it's so significant for Earth at this time. And the issue with the addictions, various addictions like gaming and so on, is that it'll set them up for addiction, actually, in the future, because what's happening is their dopamine is getting downregulated. They're actually getting dopamine hits constantly as they're gaming. Dopamine, you need more and more and more and more intensity. It builds, your body gets used to the dopamine response. And so that's what will lead children, adults into addictions. And we're seeing that globally, that there is a global addiction to not only pharmaceuticals, but also drugs. So this is a natural movement, a way of working with the brain chemistry and the brain waves and the environment, the energy field of the environment, so that we raise up, we don't need all of those other things. And as healers and priestesses, which of course you are, and oracles and channels, you especially need to maintain your resonance, to not let things stick to you. And that's where the technology shines. It does not allow the discordance to stick to your field. It cancel. That's quantum physics. It creates a spin. It's a cancellation field that spins it out of your energy field, which is why when you walk into the hotel room and you plug in the miracle or even the pocket, you actually feel the room shifting. Like I've walked into a room and said, oh, this is so, and think that it could be 4 or 5-star hotel and it looks terrible to me, and then turn on the technology, go out to lunch and come back and go, oh, it really is a nice room. But it looked very strange, actually. Energetically, you'll see like different darknesses that penetrate it, and it distorts the look of everything. And this applies also to homes, that it's not just the physical characteristic of the home, it's the energetic characteristic of the home that's more lasting, that's more powerful, actually.
So in a way, it creates this flow, or it allows the free flow of energy in our home, not just in our fields and our bodies, but in our homes. I actually, Helena, I'll share this with you because I work with crystal a lot. Every time I do channel meditation, I love to use crystals because they amplify. And then I take all the crystals after every session, I put them next to the miracle because that clears whatever the energy is. And then it allows a fresh new start because, crystals absorb all the time. And that is the thing with this miracle, there are infinite possibilities of what you can do with it. I imprint my water, I put on the miracle. If I cook some food, then I want my food to be like super delicious and quantum light. I put the food or the products next to the miracle so they can infuse or cleared of whatever stress came from the grocery store and anything else. And now when I eat it, that is the purest food that I can put in my body. So it truly is such a great tool to have in your life. It's your best helper, it's your assistant, it's your healer working on you while you get to do and shine your light and continue on. It truly is a miracle.
It truly is a miracle. And the issue with humans right now is that they're overworked. Their energy systems are overworked. Even the children, which is why we're seeing children going on antidepressants, anti-anxiety drugs, and the antidepressants are serotonin uplevelers. But the problem with this is that when the fields get overworked, we're burning out and we're not receiving all that we need even when we're receiving what we need on a physical level, energetically. So this is bridging the gap between the energy and the physicality of the body. It's like actually creating a bridge between what's here and our energy field and aligning those so that we're harmonizing, we're entraining. The homes become entrainment devices. People, they used to, and they still do, go to these events, and the events train their mind. I was just at one. They're training, like I was training your mind to do something. But when you're home, actually, when the energy field of your home actually becomes the training device, that's when you start to make real progress. Why? Because of the repetition, because your subconscious will sabotage you at every corner. And it's very sneaky. It will sneak up with a belief that you really consciously don't believe anymore, but it will sneak up and steal the trajectory of your new creation if you're not careful. So by placing frequencies in between with scalar technology, we're actually interfering with the program, the trajectory of your subconscious. But the key there, if you can see it, is the 24/7, which is why you like to travel with it, because we don't want to pick up on the collective consciousness of humanity right now, which is experiencing extreme fear and density, or the collective consciousness of really anything around us. You want to become who you are now. You need to learn to listen to this body. Actually, it's a very challenging time if you're giving your power away to every situation that you're in. And this technology is here to reconnect you with your true power and your true genius, which is your birthright, and your purpose, which is your birthright. I've seen you, Veronica. You got the technology and stepped into your purpose, which is to be a beautiful soul healer on planet Earth. And it happened, it seemed like instantly.
Truly was. It was a huge opening. I remember I was in Florida and then I moved to LA, and within 2 weeks and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I need my own miracle," because at that time when the pandemic came, like the tension and the vibration of the entire city was really tough. I would do a session, I had to go to the park and just lay down in the grass for the rest of the day because my energy field was wiped out. I was physically tired. And then once I got the miracle, everything was easy. So yes, it
You
truly
were,
saved my life.
it was a challenging time. Yeah, you came in at just the right time. We met up again at just the right time. And this is what so many of you are suffering from and many at this time think it's them. They
Mm,
think
the guilt, the shame, we're trained to not only take responsibility, but assume that all of it is ours.
and that we did something wrong. Whereas what we're seeing as a reflection is the culture's program, the world's program, the distortion of it. And for someone like, like Robert, that's what he was here for, is to actually raise the frequency of the collective consciousness so that people could get on track again. In many ways, humanity has been ripped off of their power, of their purpose. And this is this pivotal moment where a percentage of us wake up and show the others, and throw like the life raft to the others. That's what this summit is, for example. You're throwing a life raft with many solutions to shift so that people are not on this roller coaster ride of emotions. And and it's very important not to be hard on yourself at this time, because many of you are sensitives and the roller coaster ride is intensifying, the emotional roller coaster ride. So it's very important that you understand the dynamics of brainwave entrainment. Actually, it's a simple concept that in the environment, what you're not seeing and hearing is impacting you and your brain waves. So create sound frequencies that catapult you into your own evolution. Don't live in the matrix, is the point. Don't live in the confusion of the matrix. Allow the frequencies to shift the trajectory of your life. And these frequencies are becoming available so that those people that are ready and open right now can jump in and change. And it can happen so quickly. Like you, I watched, and it's a beautiful transformation. And you didn't have to change that much. It was subtle shifts. But for many, they have to really look at what's coming in and determining their reality and what they need to discard. And a lot of that is doable when you have something that's supporting a different perspective in your life. And that is your sound frequencies. What makes it so different? So you go to this event, you go to that event, you do this, you do that. The key with sound is you can take it with you and it can be repeated and repeated and repeated. And that's what the miracle was designed around, the repetition of sound waves into the environment amplified by scalar. The reason you need that is that your subconscious is also persistent. It is running 95% of the show, and it is 1,000,000 times as powerful as the conscious mind. So when you create that goal, that decision, that desire, your subconscious is listening, and it is 1,000,000 times as powerful. Just keep that in mind. And it was trained by your family. So look at what their beliefs are. And that is, unless you've done a tremendous amount of work, inner work, your beliefs are going to still be playing out, regardless of your age, whether you're 3 months old or 103 years old, doesn't matter. You're
Yeah.
still dramatizing, you're still playing out what you received in the first 7 years of your life. And those are the two things you need to, number one, be aware that there's an energy field that you can design energetically with sound frequencies. Number two, you've been programmed, and that's what you're playing out. So when you look around your environment, I have a Tesla iCube over there. This somewhere is in your consciousness. Even Veronica and I are somewhere in your consciousness, right? That's why we're here. Is you called for an intervention, so we showed up. So that is the key. You turn the door. You really open the doorway to a new way of being.
Open the doorway to a new way of being. And that opens up to my next question. Would you please share us a little bit about your story and how this technology came to you? But how was your life before you made that shift?
That's a great question. I was gifted this way from birth. And everyone, so I was the miracle child. So the birth was physically considered impossible. Now, I think all births are miracles. But in the case of my mother, she had 5 miscarriages, partial hysterectomy, tubular pregnancy, and had adopted 3 children with papers in for the 4th. So it really was a phenomenon. And she was 40. I was born in Boston. And what happened was I could feel all their energy. So I started working on them, it seemed, when I was really young. So I did my first psychic reading at 3, actually. I told them, you're rich now, you're going to be poor. There are going to be a lot of people living in every room of your house. You can. So that was what I told my parents.
I bet you didn't receive that too well.
They didn't receive it. I never gave another psychic reading. I wandered back up to my bedroom and scratched my head. Yeah, they didn't like that. I had no idea what I just said, but they did tell me years later. So what happened was I went on this journey of healing, trying to figure out who I was and why I was sensitive and could see things that they weren't seeing. And so I started studying and actually was doing a lot of volunteering when I was in high school, and I was getting trained. I actually was trained by psychoanalysts when I was in high school, and saw patients when I was 15. And I just started learning. And then I saw the limitations of all of the therapies that existed at that time. So I was working with children for the most part. I announced I would be a child psychologist, and I pretended to be one. That wasn't quite working. So I took some courses that summer at Harvard in the clinical psych department. I finished the undergraduate degree and went on to University of Chicago. Then I figured that the smart people would know something about how to heal people. So they didn't. They were doing talk therapy. One of my professors would be rolled in on a stretcher. Her back was so bad, so her subconscious had gotten to her. I went there to study with Virginia Sachir, who was a family therapist. Well, she didn't show up. We saw a 30-minute video. That went on. That after I finished my degree, I decided to go study energy medicine. So I went to India and walked with Babaji and Leonard Orr and different people who taught me about my mission. And that was the beginning of where we are today. So I worked in the ashrams of 3 leading avatars, only to see that meditation and sound also had limits. So then I moved on, and eventually, after doing therapy in the ashrams, I made a contract with the universe saying, I'll go back into healing if you bring me something efficient. Then I went back to Honolulu with my family. My son was 3. And I met up with Robert Loy eventually. And he had a very funky version of what we're doing now. He had voice analysis. The very first session that we did in my home, someone passed kidney stones, actually. They were scheduled for an operation. And so it was cumulative that it was the work with the masters where I saw something very precise needed to be available in order to sabotage the subconscious. And that was voice analysis. And then, so I practiced for 10 years with the current version. And then when Amiga went down, I joined Robert, and we developed what we have today. When we first started, we were just doing voice analysis. So we were using the technology with one coil to work on subconscious beliefs. And I saw shifts and changes, like people going off medications and children really shifting in that context. So April 21st, 2002, I joined Robert, and we were actually kind of at that point starting again, because Amiga had gone out of business. I couldn't even practice. I was just doing counseling at that time. So here we are today, fast forward, and we suddenly in 2007 realized people need this 24/7. We've made a huge mistake in not making it available that way. And that's how then we started building what was the rough draft of the miracle. And here we are.
And here we are, bringing the miracle to the world. And I remember you sharing with me the story that this is something that Tesla actually wanted to leave behind to heal the world. And then the downloads came to you.
Interestingly enough, I've done further research so that Tesla actually felt his biggest mistake in his final interview. His biggest mistake was that he did not create a technology only for evolution. And what he saw was that people weren't ready for what he was teaching, which was love, which was making free energy available to humans, which was an entirely different planet that would have evolved. Now, I've since also learned that Einstein, in a letter to his friend, also said that the future of healing would be in mathematics and frequencies. What's key with the voice analysis, with the voice code, is that it is an algorithm that's analyzing the human voice over 5 octaves, and it delivers a soundtrack that actually balances the stressed and weak notes, but also eliminates some of the issues from the subconscious just because they're stored in frequency in the voice. And most are blocked, most on earth. I would say probably 97% have blocked throat chakras. I'm constantly working on that. It's just been part of the disempowerment that if they spoke the truth and then they experienced harm, the reaction was to shut down the throat. So we're now reversing all of that and encouraging everyone to take back their power, to find out who they really are. Also to rewrite the script that they inherited. That's a big part of humanity's work right now, rewriting our script. That's why you and I met, so that we could together rewrite the script that came to us from unenlightened parents and cultures, right?
Well, we started our training earlier on.
We did. We were very young. Yes, we were born. So a short way to say that is, I was born this way. I was just born. It's still the way I am today. I'm always seeking the solutions and the refinement to the solutions. That's just who I am. Do that until the day I die. It is my purpose to actually see what works and what doesn't. That's my purpose. And to decode what's not working so that we can deliver a new script. It's like being in a new movie. Everyone needs to step on the stage of a new play right now.
To build a new earth.
That's a scary step for many. That's very scary. I just realized we're saying reinvent yourself.
Well, it's human nature. Change is very uncomfortable. I love change. You embrace change, but very few, most people, even if it's tough, they hold on to what they know because it's familiar. Change is really scary for a human mind because it's like, I don't know what's out there. It could be exciting, but what if it's not? Then change becomes even scarier because we have all this trauma built within our subconscious. We instantly think there's something going to go wrong versus why don't we assume that change is going to take us to something even better? If we just change that trajectory, shift that from, oh, what if it's exciting? What if it's better? What if it's more of me than I was before?
Well, the brain it's because of the survival. The brain has been in development for millions of years. So it is the survival mechanisms of the brain. And that's what we're overriding. And the only thing powerful enough, and I've just heard this recently from another physician, especially in the field of 5G, is frequency. It is why frequency medicine will rise over the next 10 years, where that's all you hear about. You know, I've been talking about it for years, so I'm used to this discussion, but it will be a discussion that we hear and hear and hear until it dominates the planet. There'll be an infinite shift. If you are struggling now, if you are feeling depressed or anxious, if your children are feeling depressed or anxious, the key really is to create a home that nurtures who they truly are, and a home for you. Even if you don't have children, your home needs to nurture who you truly are. And that's where most of us have failed, especially in the Western world. We sort of we knew this in ancient times, that it was the most important asset, actually, or development, is how you feel in your home. It sets the stage of your success, your children's success, and your well-being. More important, your happiness, your joyfulness is all established in the home. We need to cultivate that awareness and then nurture ourselves with sound and other ways to nurture ourselves too. Of course, nature, sound, vibration, feeling good, things you love. So it's the time. Movement, yes, very important, and breath, of course.
I feel like the light beings have gathered around. That's what I'm sensing. Would you please guide us on a group meditation or a journey? Is this something that you would like to share with our collective?
I would actually. So, what's coming to me is that the blocks that many are experiencing in the first, second, third chakras and beyond are inherited. And so, what I'd like to do is a journey to the Akashic records with a meeting with the ancestors to release one pattern that is when you pull something out, it's kind of like a bunch of blocks. If you pull out the bottom, everything falls. So we'll release one pattern that is in the ancestral lineage, because at this time, humanity, the evolved humans are being asked actually to do a life review and to choose. But in order to do the life review, we actually need to access aspects of ourselves. So I'll take you on that journey. You'll meet your ancestors, and there'll be one in charge. So you'll meet that being, and we'll play some frequencies also that will activate the pineal. And we're going to ask that this one thing that's holding you back is cleared. And you may see the generations of your ancestors, your female ancestors are particularly weighing in today. So we're going to meet up with the dominant female ancestors of your past as well. And we'll use the sound to support the activation of the higher centers.
This sounds amazing. Let's do it.
Let's go. Yes, I used to do this in my private practice. Coming back into the room and opening your eyes with great joy.
That was amazing. I know you just shared like there's no reason to rehearse what we just experienced, but it was very interesting. As I walked in, you said, look down and notice maybe you have a different clothing, different body. And I found myself being pregnant.
Oh, okay.
I am not a mother. And then when we went back, I realized there were 7 generations of a motherly nature trauma or lack of motherly love on my subconscious level, on my soul level, that has been cleared.
Oh,
In other words, the mother within me has been cleared. That's the best way I can translate. That was profound. Thank you.
you're welcome. And I just got goosebumps all over. So this is a sign also that you're birthing the new Veronica.
That is
And
what I thought when I saw the pregnant, and I'm like, oh, I'm about to create something even bigger than I thought. And that was, I had to unleash that trauma for this new creation that comes through me to.
the word that's coming to me is so that you can expand into who you truly are, Veronica, as a great soul, as a great priestess, and as a great teacher. That wound had to be dissolved, goosebumps again, in order to be realigned with your destiny in this lifetime, which will be huge. Because once that's gone, did you feel it in the solar plexus?
It was, I had this like at the beginning of meditation, it was the pain in my solar plexus was so intense. It felt like somebody was just pressing into it. I didn't think I was going to make it. And then when it shifted, it was like instant.
You always make it.
We love to go quantum speed. Why not?
Yes, we do love the quantum speed, and we'll always make it. So, and everyone listening will also always make it. You just have to know that about yourself. That's why you're here now. We may feel we're not going fast enough, we still are getting hung up, but in actuality, we're going faster than we ever have as humans. And the opportunity, it's actually in decoding and then recalibrating. That's our opportunity. The records are always available, but as beings that are occupying bodies, I always find there's a time, we always want to stay, and there's a time where they kind of kick us out, so to speak. It's like, okay, now you got to go do the work.
You receive your gifts. Now go and apply that in the 3D reality and help the world. Yes.
Exactly. We'll be with you is what they would say if they could. They'll be with you. That connection is. Did you see a gift?
The gift was a mother heart, and I
Ah,
filled up my heart with what was missing. So I was literally given a heart.
oh, beautiful. Was it pulsing like a human heart?
It was huge. It was bigger than my heart. And it was, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
either I was given an extra heart or the completion of what I already have. I am not going to question. I am simply going to receive it and say thank you. I will use this for good.
Can appreciate that's why you're wearing red though. It's the heart.
That makes sense why you brought in the powerful divine leading feminine, and that also makes sense why the mother energy came in, because that is truly the power that we need to step in as divine leaders.
Yes, and what I'm hearing now is that also that we step in as not masculine. We don't step in as male leaders. We step in as whole-brained female leaders who are intuitive. So that is a key actually in healing the feminine heart. And that seems to be all that they keep asking us to do is heal that part of ourselves and pass that on to others. As it heals within us, then we pass it on. I'm so honored to be your spiritual mother.
You are. You truly are. I feel like this is truly a gift for me, and I know it's a gift for every mother, every beautiful female priestess out there that is listening to us right now. And Helena, you're such a the work that you bring into the world and the attraction of souls. They're part of your family that you bring in, not just through this technology, but for who you are and how you show up in the world. It truly is magnifying. In conclusion, for our beautiful divine angels out there, what would you say to them to maybe find the trajectory, the light at the end of the tunnel?
To be very aware at this time of the baby steps that we're taking as groups and as individuals are very important. So listening to Veronica's summit, Veronica's doing some beautiful work energetically through the summit. Listen and take it to heart. Do not at this time listen to everyone in your life is my biggest advice. Try to listen to your inner being. Try to develop that connection. I do think that's one of the miracle provides that safety, that nurturing. But the important thing is to listen to your actual what you've been gifted, which is a physical body, and to maybe tune out if you feel something is not resonant. This is your time. And this is the time for humanity to make this change. It will never come again. This is the pivotal moment. We have the honor of being here. Let's take it and leave the false past, the distortion matrix behind, so you become the illuminated females and males that you were designed to be. You are indeed divine humans, rather
Mm.
being human. So, and thank you for so much, Veronica, for this opportunity. That was also an opening for everyone, meeting up with the feminine ancestry.
And it's so, so needed right now as we're opening to our gifts, as more people are awakening to their abilities to heal those feminine winds within us from past lives when we were ridiculed or hurt or killed for our gifts. Now it's the time to allow that through, to allow that beautiful divine feminine energy to shine through you and be the leader of your home, of your community, of the world.
Oh,
Right.
beautifully said. And keep in mind that women were in the past very powerful. It's just a more distant past. And it wasn't written in the history books as much. But there were many more women leaders than the history indicates. So be aware of that too, that this is not a path that has never been walked.
So it's time to step back or step forward into your divine leading position.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
that feels good. That feels right.
That's all right. Embrace it, enjoy it. and be happy that we reached this time. And we'll do it together also. Be happy that we're walking across this path together.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, beautiful soul mother. I adopted you and I'll continue to do so. And because you're such a light and such a gift and such a miracle to my life. Thank you. I really, really appreciate you. And my heart and my love goes to you.
Thank you, Veronica, for having us. We appreciate your work and all that you're bringing in your beautiful presence, all that you bring. Thank you for doing this.
To the next time.